Connecticut, small in size but packed with secrets that will blow your mind. From hidden natural wonders to bizarre borders, this tiny state holds more surprises than you ever imagined. Today, we're counting down 50 crazy geography facts about Connecticut, starting from number 50. You won't believe number 41. It's absolutely wild. Fact: 50. Connecticut is the third smallest state in the U.S. Even though Connecticut is tiny, covering just 5,567 square miles, it's packed with mountains, rivers, lakes, and coastlines. Imagine cramming all this variety into a space smaller than New Jersey. It's a microcosm of geography in one state. Fact: 49. The Long Island Sound shapes the coastline. Connecticut's southern border hugs the Long Island Sound, giving the state nearly 600 miles of tidal coastline when you count every bay and inlet. This makes it a prime spot for maritime history, fishing, and even surprising tidal patterns. Fact: 48. Connecticut has more rivers than you might think. The state may be small, but it's home to over 5,000 miles of rivers and streams. The Connecticut River alone stretches 407 miles, cutting right through the heart of the state and shaping towns, agriculture, and wildlife along its route. Fact: 47. Mystic Seaport isn't just a tourist spot, it's geography in action. This famous maritime museum sits at the mouth of the Mystic River, where tidal patterns, river erosion, and the coastal ecosystem combine in a living classroom of geography. Ships, salt marshes, and sandy shores all meet here. Fact: 46. Connecticut's highest point isn't a mountain, it's a hill called Mount Frizzle. Mount Frizzle's peak is 2,380 feet, but the summit actually sits in Massachusetts. Connecticut's highest point is on the south slope at 2,379 feet, showing just how tricky state lines and natural topography can be. Fact: 45. The Connecticut River Valley was carved by glaciers. During the Ice Age, massive glaciers pushed south, carving valleys and leaving behind fertile farmland. This valley is still considered one of the most productive agricultural areas in the Northeast, all thanks to ancient ice. Fact: 44. Connecticut has hidden caves. Many people don't realize the state is dotted with limestone caves, including the famous Harkness Cave. These underground formations were created over thousands of years by water erosion, and some still contain fossils from prehistoric times. Fact: 43. The state is surprisingly mountainous in the northwest. The northwest corner of Connecticut is dominated by the Litchfield Hills, part of the Appalachian Mountains. Rolling ridges, dense forests, and rocky outcrops make this area a mini mountain playground. Fact: 42. Connecticut has a panhandle for a reason. The southwestern panhandle juts toward New York, giving Connecticut a unique shape. This area includes wealthy suburbs and bustling towns, but also demonstrates how geography and politics shaped state boundaries centuries ago. Fact: 41. There's a city built on a floodplain, Hartford. Hartford, the state capital, sits on the Connecticut River floodplain. Seasonal flooding has shaped the city's layout, its parks, and even early industrial development along the riverbanks, showing how geography influences urban life. Fact: 40. Connecticut has a real secret beach. Goose Island in Groton has a hidden shoreline only reachable by kayak or boat. Most visitors never see it, making it a tiny secret along Connecticut's coast. Fact: 39. There's a waterfall inside a state park, Kent Falls. Kent Falls State Park features a 250-foot cascading waterfall, with each tier creating a stunning visual display. A perfect example of how water shapes the landscape. Fact: 38. Connecticut's coastline is riddled with salt marshes. These marshes filter water, provide wildlife habitats, and change dramatically with tides, a living, breathing part of the state's geography. Fact: 37. The state has a mountain within a valley, Sleeping Giant. Sleeping Giant in Hamden is a trap rock ridge that looks like a reclining figure from above. It's both a hiking hotspot and a geological wonder. Fact: 36. Connecticut has islands, but most are tiny. From the Thimble Islands to smaller coastal dots, these islands formed from glacial deposits and erosion, showing how ice shaped the state. Fact 35. There's a lake in the sky, Lake Warramog. This glacial lake in Litchfield County sits in a high valley, surrounded by hills, giving the illusion that it's floating in the landscape. Fact 34. The Connecticut River splits the state north to south. This river isn't just long, it divides the state's terrain, creating fertile farmland in the valley and higher ridges on either side. Fact 33. There's a forest that glows, Talcott Mountain State Park. In fall, the forested slopes erupt in fiery orange and red, making geography feel almost magical as elevation and climate combine for spectacular foliage. Fact 32. Connecticut's shape comes from a colonial land deal. The Western Panhandle exists because of a 17th century border agreement with New York, showing how human decisions impact geographic boundaries. Fact 31. There's a place where three towns meet, the Tri-Town Point. The borders of Greenwich, Stamford, and New Canaan converge at a single point. It's a tiny marker on a map, but shows the quirky side of state geography. Fact 30. Connecticut has glacial erratics, giant boulders dropped by ice. Scattered across the state, these massive rocks were carried by glaciers thousands of years ago, leaving behind natural landmarks that seem almost out of place. Fact 29. The state has a ghost forest along the coast. Rising sea levels and storms have killed coastal trees, leaving skeletal trunks in salt marshes, a haunting reminder of geography in action. Fact 2. Connecticut's hills are old mountains. The Litchfield Hills were once towering peaks millions of years ago, now worn down by erosion, but still shaping the terrain with rolling ridges. Fact 27. The Connecticut River has oxbow lakes. Bends in the river sometimes get cut off, forming crescent-shaped lakes. These lakes are home to rare wildlife and show how rivers constantly reshape the land. Fact 26. There's a place called Mount Tom, not unique, but historic. Mount Tom in Litchfield County may not be huge, but its rocky slopes and panoramic views highlight how local high points define town's geography. Fact 25. Connecticut's forests cover nearly half the state. Dense forests of oak, maple, and pine dominate, influencing climate, wildlife, and even human settlement patterns across the state. Fact 2. The state has a true hanging rock, Huebline Tower area. Towers and cliffs along the Farmington River Valley reveal the state's rocky foundation and provide dramatic landscapes for hikers and photographers. Fact 23. Connecticut has tidal rivers, rivers influenced by the sea. Rivers like the Quinnipiac feel the ocean's pull, with tides flowing upriver and affecting ecosystems far inland. Fact 22. The state's borders are shaped by rivers. The Connecticut River defines much of the eastern border, while smaller rivers historically define town lines, geography, guiding politics. Fact 21. There's a hidden gorge, Devil's Hop Yard. This state park features waterfalls, gorges, and rocky cliffs carved over centuries, giving visitors a dramatic glimpse of natural Connecticut landscapes. Fact 20. Connecticut has a natural stone river. In parts of the Northwest, glacial deposits created long stretches of loose rocks flowing like a river down hillsides. It's a rare sight that looks almost unreal. Fact 19. The state has a surprising number of lakes, over 430. From large lakes like Candlewood to tiny hidden ponds, these water bodies shaped local towns, recreation, and wildlife habitats for centuries. Fact 18. Connecticut's coastline is dotted with secret coves. Many small, rocky coves along the Long Island Sound are barely visible from land, accessible only by boat, giving the coast a mysterious, hidden charm. Fact 17. There's a mini canyon, Talcott Mountain Ridge. This ridge cuts through forests and fields with dramatic cliffs and deep valleys, showing how erosion and geology combine to create mini wonders. Fact 16. Connecticut has glacial kettles, mysterious depressions. These bowl-shaped holes formed when ice blocks melted, leaving behind small lakes and marshes that dot the landscape, nature's own hidden experiments. Fact 15. The state has a tiny desert, sandy areas along the coast. Certain beaches and coastal dunes look almost desert-like, with fine sand and sparse vegetation, shaped by wind and tidal forces over centuries. Fact 14. Connecticut is one of the most forested states in the Northeast. Forests cover nearly 50% of the state, influencing weather patterns, soil quality, and wildlife migration, an ecosystem hidden in plain sight. Fact. 13. There's a mountain pass called Lover's Leap. This cliff offers dramatic views of valleys and rivers, and local legend adds a human story to an already striking geographic feature. Fact. 12. Connecticut has underground rivers and caves. Small limestone caves hide streams that carve paths beneath the surface, showing a secret world of water shaping rock silently over thousands of years. Fact. 11. The state has a surprisingly rugged northwest corner. Litchfield Hills is full of steep ridges, dense forests, and rocky outcrops, making this corner a mini mountain range that feels completely different from the coastal areas. Fact. 10. Connecticut's coastline is longer than it looks. On a map, the southern edge of Connecticut seems short, but when you measure every bay, cove, and inlet, the state actually has nearly 600 miles of tidal shoreline. That's longer than states like California when adjusted for size. The endless twists and curves of the coast make Connecticut's geography far more complex than it first appears. Fact. 9. Candlewood Lake is man-made, and it's the largest lake in the state. Candlewood Lake didn't exist until the 1920s. Engineers flooded an entire valley by damming the Rocky River to create hydroelectric power. What was once farmland and forests became a massive 8.4 square mile lake. Beneath the waters still lie stone walls, cellar holes, and traces of the lost communities, a hidden geography buried forever. Fact. 8. The Connecticut River is the only major U.S. river without a bridge at its mouth. Think about that. The river stretches 407 miles, cuts through the center of the state, and empties into Long Island Sound. Yet, at its wide and marshy mouth in Old Saybrook, there's no bridge crossing it. Instead, ferries still operate, a rare case where modern development bows to geography. Fact. 7. Connecticut has one of the most bizarre borders in America, the Southwick Jog. On the northern border with Massachusetts, a little rectangle of land juts out awkwardly. This notch is the result of a colonial border dispute dating back to the 1600s. Neither side could agree, so the compromise left Connecticut with a jagged edge. To this day, maps of the state show that strange corner, a living reminder of how human politics and geography collide. Fact. 6. Connecticut has dinosaur tracks you can still walk beside. At Dinosaur State Park in Rocky Hill, over 2,000 fossilized dinosaur footprints were uncovered in the 1960s. These tracks are more than 200 million years old, frozen in sandstone when giant creatures roamed the land. The fact that they've survived ice ages, floods, and erosion makes them one of the state's craziest geographic treasures. Fact. 5. The entire state was shaped by glaciers. Every hill, every valley, every lake in Connecticut was carved by the giant ice sheets of the last ice age. When the glaciers retreated about 15,000 years ago, they left behind boulders, fertile soils, river valleys, and even the jagged coastline. Without glaciers, Connecticut, as we know it today, simply wouldn't exist. Fact. 4. The state's bedrock is a patchwork of ancient worlds. Connecticut's geology is a puzzle made of pieces from different continents. Millions of years ago, land masses collided and split, leaving behind metamorphic rock, volcanic basalt ridges, and even sandstone valleys. In other words, the ground beneath your feet in Connecticut is actually a history book of Earth's shifting plates. Fact. 3. Connecticut has volcanoes, ancient and extinct. The Trap Rock ridges, like East Rock and West Rock near New Haven, are remnants of ancient lava flows. Around 200 million years ago, molten basalt poured out of cracks in the earth as Pangea was breaking apart. Today, these ridges rise like dramatic walls above towns, silent witnesses of Connecticut's fiery volcanic past. Fact. 2. Connecticut's shape nearly looked completely different. In colonial times, Connecticut's land claims stretched all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Yes, the original charter gave the colony rights to land across North America. Of course, political realities and negotiations trimmed it down to today's borders. But for a time, maps showed Connecticut as a state that could have touched the West Coast. Fact: when Connecticut's geography shows the entire story of America, from glacial valleys to tidal rivers, from hidden caves to dinosaur tracks, Connecticut packs the history of Earth and the history of the nation into one small state. Its borders were shaped by colonial disputes, its landscapes carved by ancient ice, and its coastlines molded by the sea. Geography here isn't just land and water, it's a story of survival, change, and connection. So there you have it. 50 crazy geography facts about Connecticut, a small state with big surprises, from prehistoric dinosaurs to volcanic ridges, secret coves to colonial borders. Connecticut proves that geography isn't just maps and mountains. It's the story of who we are, where we've been, and where we're going. Which fact shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing geography discoveries.